Everyone. So this is our project PACT. It's peer assistant coaching technology, counseling technology. So the summer after my sophomore year, I found myself at an all-time low. I had nowhere to turn, and eventually I reached a point where, unfortunately, I thought I had no choice but to take my own life. I was actually admitted to the hospital, which was a great experience in which I learned many coping mechanisms and found closure through peer influence. But I asked myself, how would my story be different if I had a resource like this to help me?
What is the problem? Opening up to authority figures is not easy. So someone who you have to go and meet and then be expected to tell them all about yourself is a difficult situation to be put in. Miseducation about mental health issues is also a big problem because people are either educated wrong or not educated at all and therefore ignore their own signs, which leads to ignorance towards other people who have similar issues. Resources aren't always available, and when they are personalized, they take a long time. So a suicide hotline is a great way to get immediate feedback from someone who's a complete stranger, and waiting a month to meet with your counselor is a great way to meet with someone who knows you, but there's no happy middle where you can talk with someone who knows you immediately. And that's where this comes in, where you're able to be coached by, you log into an app, you're able to be coached by someone who you've been building a relationship with because you have established a need, and it's peer-to-peer, so there's no pressure about trying to talk with someone who you think is more successful than you, or anything like that. It's a quick, accessible, technology-based peer coaching platform to de-escalate mental health situations to make sure that they do not get out of hand.
How it would work. Introduction of program into school is us going to schools and having a seminar about mental health and of first aid, and it would be about a lot of mental health aid, and we would also add an option of peer coaching program application.
So it's high school focused because that's where the need is. It's immediate access because we love instant gratification. It's personalized because that means it's easier to open up. And it's confidential because there's no fear of exposure, and education increases empathy, which decreases stigma.
I believe that if I had a personalized, quick, and readily accessible resource like this a year ago, then my mental health issues would not have spiraled out of control the way they did. And I believe that if my friends had a resource like the education that we're going to implement in the schools, then they probably could have better supported me in my vulnerable state that I was in.
You mentioned that you really want to talk to somebody that you know when you're experiencing something like this, not a stranger. So who's on the other end of the app? Is it your friends?
So we would actually have volunteer peers, so people around our age, 18 or older, just for liability purposes. It would be kind of like a matching system, almost like Tinder or something. You can swipe left or right. You can read profiles of people and decide what kind of person you want to be matched up with that you could trust to talk to.
Overlook the peers?
So there would be an application process for the people who want to be the mentors or the coaches, and they would apply, and then based on their experiences, they would be either accepted or declined. And the counselors for schools, if they're the main ones who are really involved in this, would be able to oversee all of it. So it's not just tied to the school, but if the school has a counselor that's really involved with this, then they can overlook all of it, and then not just one person or like a few people, but it can be as many people are willing to be involved.
We also mentioned buzzwords. If certain words were used in the conversation, it would send an alert to the overseer to let them know to monitor the conversation if like a word that was like suicide or something was used. We also, I just wanted to reiterate, so the program would be implemented in the schools, and we were hoping to do educational seminars for all the students to let them know that, I don't know if you guys have heard of mental health first aid certification, so we would offer that for all the students, and then And then we would, after that, go ahead and offer the program with the mentor coaching.